Welcome back to my writer's room, everyone. I'm Matt Wallace, and thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to come hang out with me here in my little writerly sanctum. I always appreciate it. Last night we passed our first 100 subscribers here on the new vlog channel. Very excited about that. Considering last Monday we had no subscribers, so we're off to a good start. I feel like my goal is 1,000 subscribers by the first of 2018. That's what we're shooting for. So if you're getting behind that effort, keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep liking, keep commenting, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Me not being naked on the vlog is brought to you by our T-shirt of the day, which is my awesome Solar Skull shirt that I got out of this month's Lucha Loot Booty Chest, which I love that name, which I will be unboxing tomorrow on my wrestling channel, The Riot Tapes. If you want to check that out, if you're a wrestling fan, Lucha fan. It's second day of Dia de los Muertos, so I thought, this was appropriate. Also feeling a little somber today, as you might have noticed. I don't have my usual pep, if I can ever be described. I don't think anyone would describe me as peppy, so I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm trying to curse less. My friend Jonathan Schiefer told me if I ever want to monetize any of this, I can't use profanity. Business first, always, right? No, but I want to talk about empathy today. I want to talk about a lot of stuff, but the central thesis thing, what I want to talk about is empathy. And if you're not in the mood for something serious today, I completely understand that. You can stop watching now. I will not be offended. But it's hard. This is where my head's at right now, and this is what this is about. So I'll go a few places, but empathy is the thing. Because the older I get and the more the world I take in, the more I understand that empathy is kind of everything. If you're a writer, I feel like empathy is the quality that elevates, if you're a writer of fiction in particular, I feel like empathy is the quality that elevates your story, or particularly your characterization, your characters, to a place that gets beyond just you being a person who writes what a bunch of imaginary people do down on a piece of paper. It's when you actually learn how to empathize with your characters as if they are real people, and understand them in a way that they're independent of you and your proclivities, your opinions, your desires. You can empathize with them on their own level. That character actually becomes a fully fleshed out person instead of just a puppet whose strings you pull, hollow, and just basically a device, a mechanism to affect whatever plot or story you're telling. Empathy is the thing that makes them real. And by the same token, empathy, I really feel like the world the world and the people in it are way too complex and just basically too big of a hot mess, I think, to boil all of our problems down to any one thing. And it's always dangerous to generalize, but I really feel like if you were going to boil it down, one of the things that would kind of rise to the top is the stunning lack of empathy that we have. I really feel like that's where most of our problems stem from. It's our inability to empathize with other people. And what's really weird about that is that doesn't mean we're not empathetic people. A lot of us are deeply empathetic people who are taught empathy at a very young age. The problem is we are only taught to empathize within our own ethnic group or our own familial group or our own social circle. Anything outside of that, we have a stunning lack of empathy for it. It's very that disconnect has always been very strange to me. Even though I'm guilty of this myself. I'm not putting myself above it. I snap judge people all the time, and if I decide I dislike someone, and I decide I dislike people very often. I'm not a fan of people. But if I decide I truly dislike an individual, I actively choose not to empathize with them. I don't want to empathize with them. I don't want to see their side. I don't want to know why they do the things they do. I don't want to understand their feelings, because that would negatively impact the perverse satisfaction that I get from disliking them. And I think that's something that everyone does. And what really brought all this to the surface today is I still lived in New York during 9/11. And I lost people, but everybody lost somebody or knew somebody lost somebody. That doesn't make me special. And I don't really like talking about it, and I don't want to talk about it today. I wanted you to know that so you understand the personal context I have when I hear or read or see news like yesterday's news coming out of New York City. When shit like that happens, it doesn't matter that I've been gone from New York for 15 years now. I haven't lived in New York in 15 years. I left in 2002, not long after that. But I go right back to feeling and thinking and empathizing like a New Yorker. And it makes it particularly hard feeling that way to watch people co-opt what happened yesterday in New York, when anything like that happens in New York, for their own purposes. People who aren't New Yorkers, who aren't from New York, and who frankly don't give a shit about New York unless something happens that serves their political or social agenda. It's very difficult for me to watch our idiot embarrassment unprosecuted criminal of a president, like, who had nothing to say when that guy, shot 500 people and killed 56 people in Vegas. Literally nothing to say. Had said nothing about it. I wake up this morning and he's just endlessly co-opting what's happened in New York for his usual, pseudo KKK racist agenda. It's very hard for me to see that. And it's very hard for me to watch people lap it up too. That's the real thing. And I try really hard to empathize now, where I wouldn't have empathized years ago, even with people that I strongly dislike. When I'm on Twitter and I see a guy like Brad Thor, who's an author of, I'm sure, very vanilla thrillers where every problem is solved with a bullet. When I see him tweeting that, what was it? That, like, if because of New York's strict gun laws, that if the guy who mowed down all those people yesterday had been in Tennessee, he wouldn't have made it 8 blocks, I think is what Brad said. Because all the citizens would have had guns and would have stopped him, which is just, it's so infantile and so ludicrous on so many levels. You can barely process that. Brad really thinks in one of the most densely packed cities on the planet that a bunch of largely untrained civilians pulling out firearms, creating a crossfire for 7 blocks, shooting at a high-speed car, would have somehow prevented deaths. And that's nothing new. It's the same thing with Vegas. Everybody was like, well, if somebody had a gun and they had shot at the hotel where the guy was shooting from, they could have somehow stopped him, because hundreds of people shooting blindly at a huge structure would have somehow prevented deaths. It's just, it's very hard for me to take shit like that. But I'm trying to see Brad's side of it this morning. The other thing with ardent gun people that I notice, and I'm not anti-gun. I'm anti being stupid with guns. Like, if you want to train really hard and go through a long process and have a gun in your home for protection, I can hardly fault you. I don't think guns should be banned, but I'm also, the thing about ardent gun people that I don't agree with is they think guns are literally the solution for everything. If the problem involved a gun, what could have solved it was a gun. If the problem didn't involve a gun, what could have solved it is a gun. I honestly think they think guns could solve cancer. Like, if we could just make tiny little guns and give them to tiny little good guys, they could shoot all the cancer cells and everything would be cool. It's just they always, say what you want about anti-gun people, no one's looking at a guy mowing down a bunch of innocent people and going, what could have stopped that is more gun control. Because it has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with this particular situation. Yet, that was the solution. But Brad's problem is he's empathizing more with an idea than he is with actual people. He's not thinking about the people that he's callously disregarding from yesterday. He's not thinking about the people his stupid ideas would be putting in danger if they were actually enacted. But Brad is like a lot of us. He's like people who today are unleashing their furor on all Muslim people, because the driver, who was from Uzbekistan, I understand, was shouting a Muslim prayer as he mowed all these people down. So they're like, again, and this is all very predictable. This happens anytime anyone with a tenuous Muslim connection, or who isn't white, basically, kills a bunch of people. We come back to all Muslims need to be rounded up in camps, or they all need to be banned from entering the company, or we need to exterminate them. That's what people come to. And it's just, it all comes down, gun people and those people. And by the way, I shouldn't have to, the thing that kills me about that, it's just, and I apologize, this is a little rambling, my head is full of many thoughts today. I don't understand how you can't simply look at history. And you don't have to be a historian, just a base, surface level understanding of history. Look at history and understand that targeting a group of people based on your perception of their beliefs, their religion, has never worked out. It's never been anything but evil or remembered as anything but evil. Whether it was the Third Reich or the Spanish Inquisition, when you do that, when you cry, all Muslims, we must deal with this Muslim problem that America has. You are one of those townspeople during the Salem witch trials chanting, burn them. That's what you are. You're not going to be remembered as anything but that. These aren't special circumstances. We've been at this place that we're at many times throughout history, and it just repeats over and over again. I don't understand how you cannot see that that's what you're doing. You're just repeating the same stupid mistakes as your forebears did. And it never works out. So I don't understand how people can't just stop and take a breath. The thing is, I do understand. That brings us back to empathy. What all these people want, what gun people want, what Muslim banning people want, what people who line up behind Trump want, I think at a base core, many of them anyway. Some of them are just wanton racists who I think just want to see anything that isn't white burn. But I really believe that most of what these people want is to feel safe. Nobody feels safe anymore. Nobody feels in control. And it's very easy to give into that. So people line up behind things that give them the illusion of safety, even if they don't actually make them safer. And that can be guns, that can be a Muslim ban, that can be any number of quick, easy fixes, broad general fixes that just make them feel safer. I think and that's what they're chasing. And they're not able to see past that. The thing is, it doesn't make it any easier to watch people actively make the world worse just because they're chasing the illusion of safety. It doesn't help watching them make other people's lives worse for the sake of their illusion of safety. But understanding where that comes from, instead of just shouting at each other indistinctly, I think, is at least a start. And I don't know what the answer is. I just know that that lack of empathy is what's killing us, literally and figuratively. I don't really know what to do about that, but that's what's on my mind today. I don't, and the thing is, it's not going to change me. I'm not going to stop getting angry. I'm not going to stop yelling at people. I'm not going to stop venting by fighting with trolls on Twitter, because again, that shit feels good. It's like junk food. You can't actually take control of these larger situations. You can't actually do anything about them. So you do things that fill the hole. And that's like fighting with trolls on Twitter, or me, making fun of Brad Thor, even though he's screaming to be fucking mocked. There I go, cursing again. Now I can't monetize this video. I'm sorry, Jonathan. So yeah, I don't know what you'll take from all this. I don't know what I'm taking from it. I just identifying problems for myself and trying to work on them for myself. It makes life a little easier. It makes everything else I have to do and the ordinary things I have to focus on, going and writing my novel right now, going and looking for freelance work, working on this vlog, working on all the stuff I'm working on. It makes that easier and it helps put all this other stuff in the background and let me focus on that. And I think that's another thing people are chasing. They're just chasing the ability to function in their day-to-day lives with everything going on. So that's my method. If you have a better one, let me know in the comments. I've rambled long enough, and I apologize. If this was too heavy for you for today, sorry if I brought you down, but it's tough for me. It weighs on me. Things like yesterday, for all my personal associations, and that's a self-involved thing to an extent. It weighs on me, and that's what's on my mind as I sit here this morning. So yeah. I'll be back at you tomorrow, hopefully, in better spirits and with lighter subject matter. I really appreciate everybody helping me get to past my first 100 subscribers. I hope you keep supporting the channel. Please like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you thought of the video in the comments, what you're thinking of the vlog. If you have a question or something you'd like me to talk about, let me know also in the comments. I'm happy to do it. I'm Matt Wallace, and I will empathize with you tomorrow.